Hey guys, thanks for waiting a minute there. Getting the last little thing set up on the back end here. And for anybody joining, we will put down in the time code in the description when the actual live starts. So you can click on the little link and get right there. Fashionably late.
Shady silhouetted images and industry teasers are finding their way into our homes and invading our minds. Their calculated information is delivered to feed our addiction for radio-controlled frequencies. It's an RC conspiracy. But we are on your side, cracking the RC code. Because the truth is out there. Welcome to the RC Conspiracies podcast. Get your decoder rings ready and put on those tinfoil hats because your fearless leader is here. Please welcome your host, the lead RC conspiracist, Tony CC. Tony CC. Welcome to the RC Conspiracies podcast.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another RC Conspiracies. Today, we have a special guest in the house. We're just making him wait a little bit before we talk to him. But we have Greg Sopa here. He is the Director of Marketing for Surface Vehicles with Horizon Hobby. And so he's going to talk to us about all the cool stuff that they've had going on recently, things that he's still excited about, and we'll kind of go from there. So I see a bunch of you guys are in the chat already. Looks like we got about 45 of you in here currently. So make sure you hit that thumbs up button and let us know you are here. And we'll get going. But the first thing that we always do, what do we always do? It's the fun stuff. We're going to go over and we're going to look at the stuff that we have. The merch kind of helps keep the show going. We've got the podcast available. Get yourself an RC Conspiracies t-shirt, guys, while you're here, or CCxRC. You got to look cool when you're out there and about at the track, right? Or just bashing, right? I don't always go to the track. We don't have many tracks around us. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Some of you guys forgot your decoder rings, I see in the chat. You guys always make me laugh when I'm trying to think of something. So I guess without further ado, I'm going to bring in Greg, and we'll let him tell you a little bit about himself. So everybody,
hey,
welcome Greg. He's on the screen with you. And Greg, why don't you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about you and RC and how you got into the hobby, kind of a little bit about your backstory before Horizon or even when you came into Horizon. How's that sound?
Sounds good. So I've been in the hobby pretty much my entire life. So back when I was a kid, back in the 80s, me, my dad, my brother, my cousins, uncles, we would always go out to my grandma's house. She had kind of a circle driveway, so we all got RCs and started driving that way. So first car was a Grasshopper, and I always envied my dad's Optima Mid, Kyosho Optima Mid, so that was always one of my favorites. But yeah, been around the hobby for most of my life, and then been with Horizon now about little over three and a half years, so kind of bounced around a few different roles here, but currently working Director of Marketing for Surface, accessories, trains, and corporate marketing.
Trains too? I didn't know you did the trains as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big market. I know our stores are full of trains and stuff. In fact,
oh, yeah, especially this time of year.
Yeah, my son was looking at, he wants to get into modeling, so we go over to the train section to get the trees and grass and all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been a big week, I think, for you guys, yeah?
You could say that.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's been good. We had some good flow of information this week.
Yeah, I think that...
we only led up to it for about a month.
Yeah. I think the internet missed most of it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what happened this week?
So we had just a little release called the ARRMA Creighton 8S. So ARRMA's first fifth scale vehicle. So we were pretty excited about that. It's been a couple of years in the making, and I think it's been talked about on the forums for probably even a couple of years longer than that.
Yeah. I know it was one of the questions here always, and even when we were trying to guess what the Mojave was going to be, I think we thought it was going to be this big beast. We have it up on the screen right now, the King of the Creightons. I think
Yep.
I think a lot of people take it beyond the King of the Creightons as far as the king status, but we can let people say what they want.
Every release we had this year was, if it wasn't the Creighton 8S, they're like, where's the large scale ARRMA?
Yeah, right. It's almost like they were mad at you for releasing the really awesome the Mojave and the Infraction and the Limitless. And yeah, I mean, you guys had a killer year for ARRMA for sure.
Yeah, we kind of set out at the beginning of the year. We knew this year was going to be epic for ARRMA, and kind of save the biggest and baddest for last.
Yeah. Now, I know there's some people in here that gave me a really hard time because the conspiracy became, how did I have one and not know about it? Is because this man made me sign an NDA when he asked if I wanted in on buying one of them early for the channel. But in the beginning, all of the speculation, all of the stuff that we started with was real up until like the last, I think, 2 weeks, which there was a couple things that came out, and I tried not to talk too much about it. I pointed it out and let people talk about it, and I asked a lot of questions so that I wasn't making any statements. But there's a good question in here actually from Driftomaniac saying that he's asking if the Mojave will replace the Senton. And so sticking with ARRMA and some of the new releases.
Well, I mean, the Senton's got a couple of different variants. So the Mojave is going to be kind of like the long-term vehicle for that one. It's a little bit bigger. The Senton we didn't update when we did the V4s. So that's one that is still an awesome vehicle. I don't know if you can see, I've got it kind of right behind me. It's on my shelf over there. It's one of my personal favorites, but
the 6S Senton is, or 3?
The 6S
okay,
Senton. Yeah, so that's one of my favorites, but it just, compared to the Mojave, the Mojave is just a total different level. Yeah.
It's a bigger car for sure. I couldn't believe that people would do 6S in such a small vehicle. But John McClellan's in here, and he's got a couple of those, the 6Sers. And those things do wheelies and burn up tires, almost like the Infraction, I think, on 6S.
Well, even the Mojave, I mean, you can do a 4-wheel burnout on the Mojave if you want to.
Oh, really?
It's crazy.
I actually haven't driven one. I put my hands on one at the store the other day, and I just couldn't believe the suspension was so plush. It just felt so good, like setting it off the table. And yeah. So
we were doing one of the video shoots, and we did what looked like kind of a desert scene. So you can see one of the videos; it's all in sand and stuff, which is in the vast desert of central Illinois, otherwise known as like a sand pit.
Oh yeah.
So we were doing a shoot, and the first time I took it, and this was, probably within the first 5 minutes of me driving the thing, and we go up the sand dune, and I punched it, and it actually did a wheelie going up on the sand dune. It was just, I mean, the power is crazy.
Oh, that's awesome. So, Keaton Hurdle is in here. He says he saw me out there driving the Creighton 8S. Keaton, was that at the Hobby Town? So I broke mine. I hit a tree. Actually, no, I can't say I broke it. I did not break it. I lost a pin. That's all that I slammed this tree so hard, and I just broke a pin, and I pulled a few of the screws loose, and I bent one of the screws that holds like the control arm for the steering, or one of the turnbuckles. But I literally, it's just, I mean, that's just a standard 3mm or whatever screw from my SMT10 kit. Replace that out. And they found this little pin. I've actually still got one here on my desk, but it's a Blade helicopter shaft. And then we just put body clips through it on each side. And that's just holding it in. It's literally like limping along till parts come out. And it totally works because it's a hinge pin. And yeah, we launched it then out in the back of the Hobby Town. They have a wooden kicker ramp, I guess, almost like a quarter pipe kind of a thing. And we were just sending it, like trying not to hit the cars in the parking lot back there. But yeah, we were sending it. RC Sailors are in here. They say, hi, Greg.
Hey.
Everybody in the chat. Someone's saying we need 4mm hex drivers for the Creighton. All right, so you guys tell us about the big release, Greg. I mean, what was the build-up for this? How long has this been in the making? We've all have questions. We've been asking and questioning when ARRMA is going to do something big like this for a while. And you've known about it for a long time and had to keep it secret.
I mean, towards the end there, it was like everyone was just kind of bursting for this thing to announce. And it was like, all right, the day needs to be here because everyone was so excited for it. We've had our samples here for probably 2 months ago that we got the marketing samples. And before that, I mean, I was watching the testing videos, the prototype videos and things like that. And I was excited. It's been a long time since I've been that excited to unbox a vehicle. So we got it, took it out kind of in the center of the marketing area on the table. And Steve Pedrato, who's the other marketing director with myself, we took it out of the box and we just kind of stared at it for a few minutes, just in awe. It was so cool. So
it doesn't come out of the box easily, though. It's heavy. Yeah. It's so big.
It is so heavy. I actually, the first few times that we took it out, I drove it outside and then back inside because it was too heavy to carry. I've had to take it up. It's sitting upstairs by the wholesale sales team that sells to the hobby shops. So it's sitting on a table up there, and it was too heavy to bring down for this.
Oh, so yeah. I was thinking about putting mine in the back, but instead I put some other teasers back there for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a blast just getting out there, and we've got kind of a little parking lot and field area out back here. So threw the batteries in there and just started messing with it right away, and it was exciting. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. All right, so there's questions for you in the comments. I'm going to jump to here really quick. RC Masked Master, and I think Drifto is asking the same thing, and he's asking somebody else popped in something that I was reading. Will there be any small scale vehicles from ARRMA, 28, 24, and 18 scale? Can you speak to that?
Nothing in the works right now. I mean, we're always looking for new projects and things like that. But yeah, nothing really right now.
Maybe a 16 scale Creighton.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
Just kind of get it into all the.
Yeah. Putting in your
talking. And so Drifter Max was asking, will be bringing out anything small? He's asking again. I would love to see, honestly, like a rally car. Like Losi had one and then it disappeared, and I just love rally, and I think they would make an awesome rally car. There was another ARRMA I was thinking that would be cool, and I can't think of what it was back. It was a couple of days ago. I was thinking about, like, man, if ARRMA could make that would be awesome.
Sentons can be modified into a pretty sweet rally car.
That's true, right? It's just a body.
Yeah. I've seen a few of those on the ARRMA. Those are pretty nice.
That would work, because I have the Losi 10 rally still. Okay. Yeah, and it's amazing. I think I like it better than I liked the Losi 10 SCTE, even though it's like the exact same thing pretty much with a different body, but it's awesome. Josh Rhodes says, does everyone in product support get free 5th scale Creightons, or will it be just me? Oh, Josh, that was great, man.
Tell you what, Josh, if you get 5 other guys in product support to buy one, then maybe you can get one. We'll see.
Challenge is on.
As soon as Josh builds me a couple of grave diggers, then we'll talk.
Tracy Lee says his DBXLE 2.0 gets delivered tomorrow. I'll tell you what, the biggest question I'm getting is which one, if I could only choose one, which one would I choose? Which is just the most unfair question I think ever.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what you want to do with it. I mean, they're both awesome vehicles, just have very different applications.
Yeah. Well, see, and so for my answer, I'm having to be honest. Like, I would probably choose the DBXLE, but that's because we have that oval track down south, just around the corner from us, and so it gives it that one more element. However, I took it, and that's where Keaton said he saw. I took both big boys down there, along with my sprint car that I have, the gasser. And I showed up late. I had like a church meeting I had to be at, and then I went straight from there, threw everything in the car, ran down there. I was hoping I could jump in the second qualifier and then race the mains. But rain was coming, so they skipped the second qualifier, and they were already finishing the mains. But I did get some sweet run time with both the DBXLE, and I took the Creighton 8S out on the course. And everybody was saying that they would love to have next year a Creighton type monster truck, fifth scale, oval.
That'd be crazy.
Because it handled really well out there. And I was actually looking at the speeds because I put the GoPro on them. And I was getting about the same speeds with both around the whole track. So it was interesting that the Creighton, man, it is, a lot of people like the 6S Creighton because it's like a flipping machine and, crazy stunt kind of truck almost in a lot of ways, wheelies. And, this 8S Creighton is kind of like a performance rig in my mind. Like when I was jumping at diggers, there was so much control, like in the corners, in the air, that that tail wing, which I'm not normally a fan of, but when you're running it in conditions like that, it flew like so controlled.
Yeah. Well, you're still running on the 17 tooth pinion on it, right?
Yeah. Well,
so
I have a 21 and a 23, and I've messed around with the timings. I haven't shown all the videos yet because I released a lot up front, but I'm kind of holding a few back, partly because I broke it on a tree, but I've been working with it since then.
You're not allowed to move up until you can manage around the tree.
Right. Well, no, that slowed me down because I had to fix it before I could do the other stuff.
Yeah, the nice thing with the Creighton is, like Rich Duperbash, he's been running. I think he got a 21 tooth pinion. The ones with the safety lock that's kind of new to the Creighton,
which is awesome.
We don't have those ones yet. Yeah,
we should talk about that because that's something that's super cool and interesting. And I didn't realize it when I bought the pinions that I was going to need a little spacer. Yeah,
so he's been just working with like a 21 tooth pinion. He puts, I think, 2.5 million weight diff fluid in the center diff, and he said it's like a completely different experience. So depending on what you want to do with it, there's enough tunability to the vehicle that, out of the box and, as a speed demon, is two different levels.
Right. Which is good because you wouldn't want just anybody buying it out of the box at 25 pounds.
Yeah, 25 pounds going 42 miles an hour out of the box is fast enough for most people. But when you got a big open space and you can launch it, then, you can open a little more.
Yeah, and the people that know how to do it are going to get it to that speed and that liking anyway. But actually, if you just adjust the timing on it too, if you want to do the wheelies and the stunt stuff, you can. I'm loving it as just a jumping machine that flies flat and straight, and it lands really well. Like watching the suspension work is one of my favorite things on that truck. Yeah. It jumps, but when you actually hit the landing instead of landing on flat ground and you just watch it kind of soak into that landing, it's just unbelievable to watch it work. Keaton's asking for me to post the videos from Saturday. I had to get the speedometer on them, but I do have that on there, and now I'm editing both the DBXLE and the Creighton videos on the track with speed and all of that. So that'll be coming in a day or two. Tracy Lee, thank you, man. He did a super chat. He says, what kind of Black Friday deals are coming? change subjects really quick. I know you've got some other things we'll get to, but that's not a bad one to jump to for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we've got some pre-Black Friday items that are on sale on the site now. And then we've got a few more that we're going to be adding. There's three items that are going to be ECX vehicles that are in your local hobby shop. Those, I know a lot of them are stocked up, ready to go. I mean, killer deals on a couple of those vehicles. And then we've got another vehicle that is actually going to be $400 off, which I won't name, but just make sure you check, maybe in a couple days.
Right?
See, yeah.
So are you guys doing online sales on Friday too, or is that Cyber Monday you're going to do it?
So, I mean, we kind of line up with all the hobby shops, so we'll push all of our stuff live at the same time. So,
okay. Oh, because they'll have it in store for the same pricing. Some of them.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. So, you may want to check it before Friday.
Yeah.
Maybe the business day before then. So.
Okay. Well, I'm seeing on here where I have the page pulled up, and I'm looking at the pre-Black Friday, and the Losi 1/10 22S two-wheel drive brushless ready to run is $200 off for $149. That's a pretty killer deal. They've got the kit version as well for $229. That's $150 off. And then the Super Baja Ray, and I was so torn between that and the Mojave, and now I'm seeing it for $500. And that's a killer deal.
Those two vehicles, they're another one that they're awesome in their own way. If you want a little bit more of a realistic driving experience, the Baja Ray and the Super Baja Ray are definitely the way to go. Like when we were at Diggers back in May, it was, really loose dirt kind of environment for the racing, and I was driving the Raptor Ray at that time, and that thing coming around the corner, I mean, you just kind of feather the throttle and it brings the rear end around, and it's a totally different driving, and they're both really fun in their own way. Whereas, the Mojave is one that you can send it and go for kind of the distance. But that being said, last year at the Mint 400, we launched the Super Baja Ray off the Monster Freestyle Motocross ramp. So we launched it about 60 feet in the air, and there was a tailwind, so we flat landed the vehicle on cement, and the only thing that we broke was a rear axle brace, and then we bent one of the rear hubs. But other than that, it was still drivable after landing. It had to be a good 60, 70 feet in the air, just down when it landed.
And so much of that too is about landing flat, right? So any of them, so if you're going to launch it that high, but then you land it a little crooked or on one wheel, it's a different story a lot of times.
Yeah. Well, that one, if we would have hit the back of the ramp, there would have been no breakage, because we did it again later that weekend, and we landed
on the
perfectly.
Ramp. That's awesome.
But when you're taking off, you can't really see the back end, so you're just kind of guessing.
Total guesswork. So Net Cruiser has a question for you. It says 2020 ARRMA 6S models, will those also be fully Spectrum smartified too?
Well, we're not necessarily going to have an annual version of the models, but there's definitely a path for Spectrum and options that we're going to have for those. So, but Spectrum and Smart is definitely the way that a lot of our vehicles are going. Having that onboard telemetry and the things that you didn't have. Previously you'd have to have 6 different sensors and wires, and you'd kind of run spaghetti throughout your entire vehicle to be able to get those. But now being able to do that without all those extra pieces is the way to go to, especially for when you think about it as a basher, it's you want to know how fast you're going, you want to know how much battery you have left, you want to know your ESC temperature. Those are kind of the top 3 things that I look for. And being able to get that right out of the box is just awesome.
That's pretty cool. So RC Dude 81, Eric is in the house. He says the 8S is definitely a work of art and flies so nice. I'm trying to go back through some of the questions here to see what I missed.
I think Eric might have the record for most air flown in the 8S so far.
I would say so.
just by watching the
He
video.
launched it, man. And so I've been taking some of his advice on what pinions and stuff to buy, and then before that, I've been just kind of messing with the different tunings and as far as the timing goes. But
So let me ask you this: Are you going to launch your Crate 8S at the long jump competition at Horizon RC Fest next year?
are you asking me or RC Dude 81?
Well, both of you guys, I
Okay.
guess.
Yeah, I'll have to get a little more speed behind it if I want to compete, but I'd send it. I would totally send it. I wanted to send the infraction last time.
Well, the Big Squid guys, they did later in the summer. Back in August, they launched it, and they didn't break it
I
once.
saw it just tumble in the air and then land, and I was like, oh, and it's done. Then I saw it do it again. It did it like 3 times. They said nothing broke.
Nothing. It was crazy.
Unbelievable. So RC Sailors was commenting to somebody they're huge fans of the smart batteries. RC Master, he had said it first. Those smart batteries are awesome. So why don't you tell us? We hadn't talked about talking about this, but we'll just kind of just jump ship on some of the stuff we were talking about. The Spectrum Smart line. So the surface side of that, you have some workings with that too as well. Can you tell us a little bit about what the smart setup is for people that don't know what Spectrum Smart is and the batteries and the ESCs and receivers and all that, how that works?
Yeah, so it's a few different pieces. So you've got the Spectrum Smart batteries are the first area that we came out with. And I was a big, I've always had like 4-port chargers and loved running those. I had a high-tech one that, it even connected through Bluetooth that I've had for a few years. And then we got the S2100 Spectrum Smart charger, which, is a dual port charger. So I got that and I started messing with the batteries. And the thing that I love about the batteries are they actually storage charge on their own. So, my problem is I'll go charge up 3-4 packs. I'll have enough time to actually, run 2 of them and then kind of forget about it. And the nice thing is not having to worry about going and storage charge those or have to find time to go run out those batteries. I don't have to, constantly have that reminder of, okay, this battery's charged, this battery isn't charged.
So they have something in them that's kind of using that energy to get it down to storage mode? Is that?
Yeah, so it's actually got like a little circuit board in it that it goes and you can even set up the settings on it. So it'll wait, so many hours before it starts to trickle charge down to the storage level. So that's one thing that I fell in love with right away. So I actually, just have 2 of those chargers that I use for my own personal chargers. But then we got into really the smart ecosystem for the Surface, which the Crate 8S is the first ARRMA vehicle that is our first smart vehicle. We also have the Tenacity DB Pro and the DBXLE 2.0 that are both smart right out of the box. So they've got a smart ESC, which feeds telemetry data to the receiver, and then that sends it to, so if you have like a DX2E and you have the Bluetooth module on there, it'll send it to the dashboard app on your phone. Otherwise, if you have like DX5C, DX5 Rugged, DX5 Pro, any of those, it actually feeds even a little bit more telemetry data to those screens there. Like I said, I mean, the 3 main ones that you have for Surface are your speed, which is calculated by like the rollout for the vehicle. So like in the dashboard, you can actually select which model you have, and it automatically calculates the rollout. Very
accurate.
But you can do that. Yeah, so you can do that in any of your vehicles. So even if you don't have one of those vehicles that has smart in it, you can actually calculate the rollout with the pinion and have a pretty accurate, because I think you tested it compared to a GPS and it was like within 1 mile per hour.
It was pretty much spot on. I think that it was spot on with the Dynamite, but the if you were watching the GoPro at one point peaked an extra mile per hour faster with the DBXLE 2.0 for that one. On a different one, I think it was and I was using the it was the Tenacity DB Pro. I think it was 1 mile an hour faster or slower, one of those. But I
Yeah.
do have a video showing the actual phone version as well. I don't have the actual mount that you guys have for the controller, but I have a different mount that I use for recording with that I used. And
Mhm.
I showed the speedometer stuff on that where it held it. I do have a set of the 4S batteries to show as well some of the other smart features like the voltage reading and the milliamp hour and usage in that
Yeah.
that you sent me with the DBXLE. So we'll show people some of that. That's still coming. And I'll show it also on the rugged, do one of both versions because it is definitely an interesting thing. There's lots of questions coming in. And they're asking, can you set how long the discharge takes? Like, or will it he's like, they didn't realize it only would discharge in a few hours, or can you set it to a couple days, or how does that work?
Yeah, I forget what the max settings are, but you can set it. There's, I want to say at least 4 or 5 different settings for how many hours it'll go.
That's through the charger
So
you set that?
You can set it on your charger. Otherwise, there's a voltage checker, a smart voltage checker. You can set it in there. But on the charger, you go into like the settings for that battery, and then you can actually set it after the fact. So the nice thing is about with the batteries, once you plug the smart battery into the charger and you charge it, it'll remember those settings for you. But otherwise, you can go back in after the fact and change those settings if you kind of change your mind afterwards.
Yeah. Tracy Lee's using them too. He says he loves the smart batteries because he's so bad with battery storage. I actually was just this morning storage charging, and storage charging takes forever. It takes like 2-3 hours to do it per battery. And I charged up for monster truck racing like 12 batteries and used like 9 of them or something stupid. And so I've been, I realized like, oh crud, I didn't discharge those. So I was in there this morning setting some up, discharging them all. And so it is great that they do discharge. Can you discharge them from that little, they discharge themselves. So never mind. I was going to ask if you could do it from the little.
You change the settings with that.
Setting thing. Yeah. So you can tell it, discharge it in an hour or two. So Bull Gear's getting a little snippy in here, saying there's a conspiracy because we're avoiding his question about the SCX-10 Is that coming out in January?
That I don't know.
Okay.
January.
All right. I was trying to sneak it in there. You don't know. Not going to speak to that. You can't talk to that.
I don't know.
He says, while my batteries discharge would be a long podcast. Oh, that's a good one, Night Cruiser.
You want to cover really in-depth topics.
Well played. I try and keep those nice and short. If you notice, all my batteries charge in about 15 minutes or less. It's because I just have to top them off because I never storage charge them. So you have a couple of things that we were going to talk about. The DBXLE 2.0 is awesome.
Yeah, so that one's out in stores. We've had that one shipped, I think, earlier this month.
There's other new stuff that you have that's awesome, and you actually have it with you. It's yellow, and you were going to show it to us.
We got this little guy. Wait, let me give you the full effect. Hang on.
Oh, that's so cool.
So
is that the SCX-10 that you're holding?
Yeah. See, the SCX-10 Mini.
So what is this one? That's the 24th scale?
Yep, so that is the 24 scale Jeep, the SCX-24. So we had the Deadbolt earlier this year, and now we've got the Jeep. So this one is actually just shipped, I think on Friday, so it should be in hobby shops now.
Wait, what?
This will be.
It is in hobby shops now? That is?
Yeah, it should be. I believe it shipped on Friday. And then the Mini T, which we also announced, that was a early access item. We had that in hobby shops on the 7th. Those are actually shipping, I believe, tomorrow. So they should be at your local hobby shop for Black Friday, Small Business Saturday. We'll have those out there as well.
Okay. I was just at my hobby shop yesterday looking, and I did not see that because I would have probably bought it because I really wanted one of those. And I bought I like the deadbolt a lot, but I really wanted one of the Jeep ones.
The Jeep has clear bodies too. So you can paint it. So if you don't want white or yellow, you can make it whatever color you want.
The cost scale is too. Is it 1/24th the price?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Mad 2424 is asking, what's the boat situation? Are you said you do boats as well? Is that surface?
Yeah.
The surface of the water? Okay. So what's the boat situation at Horizon now? I don't know exactly what he means by that, but that was the question.
So, I mean, we've got Pro Boat. We've got a lot of boats under Pro Boats. We've kind of moved some of the boats over to from Aquacraft, which we got in the acquisition back in 2018, over to Pro Boats. So we've got like the airboat. You can't see it; it's a little bit too high. So that one I'm looking forward to in the winter because you can take that on the snow. It's just a giant fan, so that'll be fun. But with the new Zalos that we announced this year, the 36, that is like an 80-mile-an-hour boat. That thing's crazy. You can run, so it's got 2 motors and 2 ESCs. It can actually run 6S on each ESC. So it's like 12S total that you're running on. But yeah, so we've had that. We've done some smaller boats. The Sprint Jet, the Jet Jam is a little over a year old. That's another great seller. And then we have a little 17-inch power boat that we had late this summer. That thing is crazy powerful because it's brushless and it's only 17 inches. So I mean, if you want to, you could actually like do a barrel roll, like
right, the torque,
right from a dead start.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So conspiracy thinking. I'm looking over your left shoulder, and there's a sprint car up there. Are we going to see more sprint cars from Losi in the future, or is that the old one?
No, this is the old one.
Oh, bummer.
So this is the vintage,
and it's really mint looking too.
It is. This was an old trade show piece. So
does it drive? Does it have electronics and stuff?
It does. It does. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, you should trade show that here.
I've also got this. This is one of my restored babies I got.
Wow. Is that an acquisition?
Is what?
Nothing. I was being a punk. So a couple of other things that we were going to talk about. We had a list of things that we haven't really hit at all yet. So that's all right. It's good. I'm trying to look it through some of the things that we had talked a little bit about. Mini T was something cool. You said that's shipping.
Should be tomorrow.
Shipping out tomorrow, so next week possibly.
Yeah.
Is it shipping to the stores and to the first buyers at the same time? The orders?
I think it's shipping to the stores. The buyers shouldn't be far behind, but definitely should be in the hobby shops soon.
Okay, here's a good one from Trail Critter RC. He says, when are we going to see the SMT-10 coming? And Swamper said that, and Troy's Hobbies said that just now. I wonder why.
So how many people are talking about the SMT-10?
A lot of them, for some reason.
How many of these people were at Digger's Dungeon last spring?
I was. That's when I met you for the first time, actually.
Yeah. So the SMT-10, what I said there, it still holds true. So
quarter 3 or 4? So it's not quarter 3. So either this month or next month is quarter 4.
Just got to be patient.
Okay. So there's nothing new. So you guys did re-sign. So there was some people were asking, and still, I mean, I literally was on the SMT-10 Facebook group, and they were saying that it was discontinued. I'm like, it's still on their site. It just says out of stock, like that they're not available at the moment. It doesn't say discontinued. So what was the holdup, I guess, or what changed? Is it just the kind of the merger? Are they changing plastics, so changing factories, or what's going on?
No, I mean the biggest thing was the license that we had with Feld that expired. It wasn't anything,
Okay.
you know, it was just the end of the contract. So contract negotiations and things like that. So yeah.
And so that's all worked out?
Yep.
Okay.
All worked out. We have a partnership with Feld that we're working on. So yeah.
Okay. So then you already had some ready to just send out. It seems like, right? Wouldn't there have been stock? Okay, we've renewed and we just ship them again, or no? No. Okay.
It's not quite that easy.
Okay. I'm in media, so I don't know. I just ask the awkward questions. That's my job. Deontay says, did the Creighton ship out or what?
Creighton's did not ship out yet. They will be shipping out the first week in December. So if you haven't seen it yet, we've got quite a few hobby shops around the country that have them sitting on their counters, showing them off. So definitely go check it out in person. Go see it there first, and then you'll have it before Christmas.
And you're just trying to wait till the SMT10 is ready so it can ship with it, so you can work the package that way, or
yeah, okay. Something like that. They nestle in
They're
nicely.
Saying Tony really wants to know about the SMT10 in here. Okay.
I did see one thing about events.
Yeah, RC Fest 2020 question.
Yeah, so we've got kind of our Horizon signature events. We've got Horizon RC Fest. We've got Axial Fest. We've got an event called ARRMA that a lot of people in the U.S. don't necessarily know about, but that one, just to kind of briefly touch on that, is actually it's a giant air show that we have in Germany with our European office. So it's been going on for 11 years now, and we actually get 25,000 like people from Europe that come just to sit and watch an air show. So we get about 100 RC pilots flying giant scale airplanes, real turbine jets, and things like that, just come out and watch for the weekend. Axial Fest, everyone kind of knows what that is. So we brought it back to Donner last year and just had an absolute blast. And then Horizon RC Fest is, the time for people to come and see, where our home is here in Champaign and our home field. So Tony got to experience that last year and kind of check it out. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's a great video about it you guys should watch.
Yeah, and some CCxRC channel or something like that,
yeah.
I think.
Yep, you should check it out.
But we'll be announcing those here in within the next couple weeks. We're just kind of finalizing a couple last minute details, and then got a good little surprise in there for everyone too.
For this year? Or for
2020.
There's going to be a surprise at the upcoming one.
There's going to be a surprise for 2020 for the signature events.
Okay. At each one of them? Oh, there's going to be a new event.
I don't know. That's the conspiracy.
So what's the Mint 400 thing that you were talking about? It's over your shoulder. That was an old one that you jumped off of?
So that was from last year. We were at Mint 400, which is a large off-road race, one of the biggest off-road races in the world, actually, every March. So we'll be going back there next year and work with them. And
Okay. I wasn't sure. I saw it up there, and I thought it might have been one that was one of them that I missed. I'm trying to read the comments, too, so I'm just very distracted. So the fifth scale monster truck, is that coming out next year at the events?
It's probably going to be like half scale, something like that. Yeah, half scale RC.
I'm just trying to get some sneaks in here. Somebody saying Outcast fifth scale. Is that coming?
That would be cool.
It would actually be really cool. Just shorten the chassis down a little bit. ARRMA Raider fifth scale. Oh, that would be so awesome. especially in the market. It'd be a what's the other one? The HPI. It'd be like a Baja, right? If the ARRMA Raider was
Yeah.
fifth scale, that would be super cool, actually.
Yeah.
John McClellan says, ARRMA Raider comeback. Shh, I swear Tony doesn't want to know. He keeps sending me eBay things to like brand new ARRMA Raiders because he knows I want one. I have one. I actually took it down. Oh, no, it's still up there.
There it
It's
is.
still up there. I was going to put a monster truck up there because I was trying to get people to ask about monster trucks to get it going that direction. Instead, I literally had to go into the chat and say, hey, somebody ask about SMT 10s. Big Rock.
Then that's why we had 3 comments.
Yep. Net Cruiser saying Big Rock 8S with diff brain, please. That would be cool. Is the diff brain just done? It was only part of the Nero line. It wasn't going to come across, or is that was?
I don't know. I mean,
Horizon.
That was before any of my time that I was involved with ARRMA. But the concept was awesome. Actually, my first ARRMA vehicle. What was your first ARRMA vehicle?
My first ARRMA vehicle was a Senton Mega.
Okay, because mine was the original Mojave.
Oh, was it?
It was back when it was like a 2-wheel drive. Right. Well, actually, technically, it wasn't my vehicle, so I kind of got back into RCs, and then convinced my wife that she needed one. So I bought her an ARRMA Mojave so she could drive it for 5 minutes. Say,
I hate it.
All right, cool, I'm good. Here you go, and then I have another car drive.
Nice.
So
well played. My kids have lots of those cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I started with that, and then I got the Granite, which I still love, and I regret I sold it to a guy who happened to come over when I was driving the Max, and he was asking about it, and I was like, this is like $600, man. Like, you don't want to spend that for this. You'd be better off, getting the Granite, like just getting into it for $300 and just try it out. And I'm like, here, let me show you. It's just as fast as this. It does all the wheelies. It's just as crazy. And so I'm showing it to him. He's like, well, how much would you sell me this one for? And I'm thinking, that wasn't part of the plan. Like, I'm just going to let you drive it. And so I ended up selling it to him. And then I was like, dang it. Just the other day, I wanted to go somewhere, but wanted to take a small RC, and I didn't have the Granite to just take and bash. But I love that car.
Yeah, I have the Granite brush that I got from my daughter, and she loves that thing. She drives it all over the place. Yeah,
it's super cool. I mean, the shocks leak, but honestly, it's a basher. I just never filled them again. Like, I just left it, and I still loved it. Like, it was just awesome.
Yeah.
For what it was, it killed it. So, and then after that, it was the Infraction, I think, and then the Outcast twice. So you guys don't all know that yet, but twice with the Outcast, and then the Creighton Forest and the ADIS. So it kind of escalated quickly there.
Seems to be the way the hobby goes for a lot of us.
Yeah. And, monster trucks, I want them to come back out. I didn't sell it. I traded away my Max D. You knew I had it. It was like in the box still. Tempted to leave it that way. You have one, right? That you're keeping in the box, the Max D? Or no? Okay.
I do.
Well, I traded it away because I got too good of a deal on a Tamiya semi-truck. Trailer, everything. Like $1,500 worth of stuff. I couldn't say no. But yeah, it's missed. And now I need another SMT-10 for a build I want to do.
I can never have enough monster trucks.
Is that the truth? So when is ARRMA ever going to do like a monster truck?
I mean, when you look at the different brands, so, we've got 3 marquee brands for surface. So you've got Losi, ARRMA, Axial. Losi is really more of your motorsports brand. ARRMA is more of your just true basher brand. Axial is kind of your crawler scale brand. So, that's kind of when you're thinking about, okay, how would Horizon come out with this or would Horizon come out with that? That's where if you kind of think about it in those terms, you can kind of figure out, okay, what bucket that's that going. So, like, for instance, ARRMA will never come out with a crawler. I've been seeing that a lot on the forums and things like that, but that is exactly why we have Axial.
Which is why when it all happened, I thought for some reason I was expecting the SMT10 to go over to actually ARRMA. That's what I thought. But because a monster truck, big wheel, I don't know. I didn't understand the whole brand thing that you just laid out there, but yeah. So, okay. So ARRMA will never do a crawler.
Yep. You can
just write that
put
off.
that conspiracy.
That's in stone. Okay. All right. So you wanted to show us some stuff, though. I've got it preloaded. Let me go over to that screen and make sure everything is squared away before I give it away. Can I hide this sidebar? Yes. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to jump over that screen. And I just gave one of them away. It's red. You're about on a 15-second delay. Yes.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to see what it is.
He's delayed. He's a little slow, Greg. Is RC Funds Diversion says that he is Oh, you got him. So shoot, let's just go that way. Do you have all of the ones that I have as pictures? Oh, well,
yes,
forget this. I'm going to just show you.
Okay.
All right.
So we've got 4 new shirts. They're going to be coming up this week. They should be in stock next week. So if you're looking for, shirt for yourself, gift ideas, things like that. So we've got kind of a vintage ARRMA shirt there.
Cool gear logo.
It's got the Horizon Hobby on the side. And then the other side, we actually have the
the Motorworks.
ARRMA Motor.
Yeah, that's cool.
So as you kind of recognize from a lot of the
I really like that branding that they've used with that Motorworks. That's just really classy.
Yeah. But then we have
how many teeth is that gear? That's what I want to know. Does the designer are they thinking in spur gear dimensions and sizes? What kind of car are we powering with that thing?
Yeah.
Concept RC says, how about an ARRMA hoodie?
Hoodies could be happening
for
sometime.
Summer?
I don't know when. We don't have any right now. We're starting out with t-shirts.
Okay, cool.
But we already had the hat. We had kind of a standard red shirt, and now we're kind of moving into some other ones. So here's, speaking of the ARRMA Motorworks.
I will be buying that shirt.
The gray one. These are all kind of tagged as Horizon Hobby official apparel. Has the ARRMA logo in it. Things like that.
I really like that logo.
Then, so all the sleeves that aren't the Motorworks one, they have the Motorworks like on the sleeve. So it's kind of branded that way. All right, then we got the black shirts because I know you're a fan of the black shirts.
Yeah.
So we've got this one right here.
So we see the Mojave, the Creighton
up top, and then the Fraction.
Nice.
And on the back, just a simple ARRMA badge. And the last one, this one's my favorite. It's kind of very simple.
Tread pattern.
Yep. On the back, it's going to get that as well. And the tread pattern is actually the Creighton tread pattern. So
very cool. Now the last one is not of this brand that you were talking about. But we were talking about doing. You had something in there to give away to somebody here. We just have to get an address from them. So pit mat.
So, yep, we got an ARRMA pit mat that sitting in my office. That
are those for sale as well too? Are they able to be purchased?
These are not.
Oh, so it's special.
No. Yep. Special edition.
All right, I'm going to be in this. I'm allowed to compete as well. So I know the answer. John McClellan says Tony would wear ARRMA underwear if you had it. I would not. But I do buy a ton of shirts. I've got RC Sparks, RC Overload, Kevin Talbot. I've got ARRMA. I've got a bunch. I just ordered a JTRC shirt. So people that sell them on, if you got a channel, man, you got to get the T-shirts and stuff up on Threadless or whatever the name of that place was that I posted earlier that my T-shirts are on. You can't even think of the name. But I love representing RC stuff, wearing T-shirts all around. So this last thing is another T-shirt, but it's vintage, and so
before we show it, why don't we'll intro. If anybody can, the first person that can guess the first low-C vehicle in the chat, just type that up, and then that'll kind of allude to what we're working with here.
Anybody? Oh, they're thinking. There's a 15-second delay too, so they're just about now hearing the question and hitting the Google.
Yeah.
For those of them that don't know the answer.
We kind of threw a curveball.
22S is what we're seeing. Nope. Low CX 22S. No. Mini T 2.0. That's the newest one. Oh, Chris Watson said he just bought a 22S. This is old school, guys. Super old. It's not the ARRMA. It's the low C.
Yeah, we switched it up on you.
Switched it.
Threw a curveball.
JRX2, Mr. Mad 2424. Boatman himself.
That is it. All right.
So
the JRX2 is the first low-C vehicle, and next year is actually the 40th anniversary of low-C. So in honor of that, we have the JRX2 limited edition T-shirt. It'll only be available through next year. And then
don't ever wash it after you wear it, guys, because the design will fade. Just don't wash it. Just keep wearing that thing.
Then on the sleeve, it's got the low-C 40th anniversary logo on it that you will be seeing a lot through the next 12 months. Do you have that picture? I didn't have that shirt.
I do have that picture. Here, let's see. I think I have that picture. There goes.
So Mr. Matt 2424 needs to get Tony your address so we can ship the pit mat out to you.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'll just read out Greg's email right here to everybody, so you all have it and you can email. No, I was kidding. So yeah, just contact me on Facebook or Instagram is the best way to do that. Or you could do it through Messenger. Maybe I'll post this, whatever. But best ways through one of those means. Are you able to do that, Mr. Mad 2424? Are you on one of those, Instagram or Facebook? Let me know. If not, we'll figure out a different way. But it actually looks really cool. I love it. It's got the kind of already worn. So actually, you guys can wash it because it kind of already looks like it's fading and cracking because the design's got that vintage look to it. And the 40th logo I see on the sleeve. I can probably zoom in on it here a little. Oh, there we go. Guy's got nice arms. There we go. 40th. I like the old logo in there. 40th anniversary. So are they going to come back out with the JRX2? Like a repop?
Those, unfortunately, are kind of difficult to do. Okay. Over that amount of time, to still have molds that are functional without having to retool the molds is
expensively retool them for something that will not sell in huge numbers because it'll be just to the real fans. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, the technology by today's standards is so dated. Even if you update the electronics and stuff, the geometry and the technology has just changed over time. Be like jumping with a sail on it.
Yeah.
Well, Those are cool. I like new T-shirts for sure.
Yeah, so you should be able to see those. Those will be in stores and online probably within the next few days. The JRX2 shirts are already on the Horizon website. The picture should be loaded by tomorrow, but right now it just says no image yet. But now you know what it looks like.
Very cool. Oh, you were talking about shocks. Is that what you just were talking about?
Oh.
I didn't mention that. We forgot all about the shock part.
Yeah, so that's another thing for the 6S vehicles. We're actually starting to sell pre-assembled shocks. So that way you don't need to worry about having to buy all the components for your shocks and build them up from scratch. So we've got them for the 3 different shock set sizes. I don't have offhand.
I'm actually
what
pulling it up right now. You gave me a link, and I've just got to move it over to the right window, and then we can show what the sizes are. Now, is this so people can just replace shocks that way without having to build them?
Yeah, so if
you break one?
Yep, so if you break a shock or something like that, you don't want to rebuild it. Gives you more of an option just to kind of right out of the box.
Or if you want to convert one of your trucks from one to another, probably.
Yep.
So, yeah, you've got 115 millimeter length, 133, 104, 117. There's a lot. 106, 124. It seems like such, small changes in numbers, but it makes such a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In the way that they handle. Because one of them is 104 millimeter. One of them is 106 millimeter. But, I mean, the weight of the oil in them is a huge difference. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's nice that they already have the oil and everything in them, too.
Mm-hmm.
For lazy guys like me that, 1, I hate building shocks. 2, I hate doing shock oil. It's just bleeding it out right, and it's like, this one doesn't rebound right, and then you're kind of messing with it. But
what's the other thing that you hate building?
RC cars. Semi trucks, man. Those things are a nightmare. What are you thinking? What is it that I hate building?
Differentials, man.
Oh, diffs are the worst.
That may be worse than shocks.
Oh, hands down. First time ever, the guys told me, I had no idea you had to do all this maintenance stuff. They sold me that low C10, and it's like, oh, dude, you need new diff oil. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, yeah, I mean, your diffs are definitely, you've been running it. You can tell it needs them. And I'm like, oh, crud. Okay. So I got all 3 of them in one bang. Like, they told me the oil of diff oil, and I've only been doing this 6 years, so it would have been a year in. So it would have been 2 years. So 4 years ago, I did my first RC diffs. And getting them out of the low C10, there was probably an easier way, but I feel like I took the whole thing apart in order to get the diffs out of the low C10. The rear. Like, must have, there's probably a way to drop it out the bottom, and I just literally took everything out, and then the whole front end, rear end were disassembled. Doing the actual oil wasn't bad. What was that?
You're only replacing the rear diff, but the front and the rear ended up apart.
No, I did all 3 of them like in one day. It took me like all day to do it.
Yeah, the first time I was building an 8. First time I was building the center diff, I remember I was like, all right, I got to tighten this so it doesn't leak. And I stripped out 1 or 2 of the screws, and I was like, oh, no more.
All done. End of the day, I'll come back and deal with it later. I remember my first truck was, because I love monster trucks, and so I raced BMX for years, which a lot of people I found out got into RC through racing monster trucks. And so I'm trying to get the chat back up here because people are going, see you later, Troy. These shocks would be great for other vehicles too. Net Cruiser saying that. That's awesome. Good upgrades. And so I got my bike back. I have this like Reynolds Racing custom from back in the day when I raced. Barry McManus. Like they literally, the guys that race pro would made their own and carried them around. So I had it. And I was looking for jumps, which is where I found Ipswich, where I jump my RCs and break them now. And I wrenched my neck really bad there. And so I decided I'm getting out of this, whatever. But before that, I'd actually passed, and I saw these guys like jumping RC cars. I'm like, dude, there's a BMX track over there. And then I went down there to ask about it, and then it's like Debbie's RC World. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Like, guys are just jumping these cool cars. So when I hurt myself like a month later, and I have to work and all that, I'm like, I can't be playing around like this anymore. I went back in and got, I told my wife what I wanted to buy, which was a Gravedigger, and she said no. And so I finally got like Employee of the Month or something a couple months later. I said, hey, I've got half the money now. Can I buy it? And she said yes. And I'd also tried, because I didn't know anything. Like, this is how dumb I was 6 years ago. I went into Target, and I bought what looked like a really cool monster truck off the shelf. You couldn't even drive it in the grass. Like, it stopped when it hit the grass. It was so big. The tires were, massive, and it just stopped dead in the grass. I'm like, this is junk. I'll never jump this thing. And so I went back and got that thing, and I hit a curb, I think, the first night. If not the first night, the second day. And I had to leave the country for work to do video stuff, and I handed it to my dad and said, hey, can you take this up to that hobby shop and see if they can fix it? And I didn't even know like you could buy all the parts and all that. Like, I was so clueless about anything. And so they ended up saying like, no, you can do this. And they sold my dad the parts. And so when I came home, he's like, no, they wouldn't fix it. They said you could do it. And here's the parts. And I'm like, all right. It's just simple. It's like a C-Hub carrier. It was like so simple, but I was so afraid to get into it. And I YouTubed videos, and here we are on YouTube later doing this kind of stuff for other people.
When I got out of it, because when I was a kid, and then I got into high school and things, I got out of RC for a little bit, and then when I got back into it, it was like, wow, YouTube is like the best teacher ever. I was looking up how to do gear mesh and all these things that I couldn't remember as a kid. That it was crazy. And then my first truck I got back when I got back into the hobby obviously was a monster truck. So and for those that don't know, my passion before I came into Horizon in RC was with solid axle monster trucks, and getting into that with the custom ones and that sort of thing. So it was
man after my own heart.
Right. Yeah, I probably upgraded every single possible thing that I could upgrade on that vehicle.
Really? I didn't know that you were into the solid axle monster trucks.
Oh yeah, I used to actually paint monster truck bodies for guys as a way to fund the hobby, probably like 5-6 years ago.
Could you make a Gas Monkey Garage one?
I've made a Gas Monkey Garage one.
Could you make another one?
Man, so when I did that one, I would do it with I've got a vinyl cutter, so I cut Gas Monkey Garage out on vinyl, and trying to net out all of the extra stuff.
I just sticker the outside. Paint it green and sticker the outside. That's cool, man. I did not know that about you.
Oh yeah.
Adam Munz told me, I think, a little bit about that, but I didn't dig in too far. I didn't know that that's what your main focus was.
Oh yeah, I was monster truck everything, man. I was all in.
That's where I am. Like, all the ones that I have on my shelves up in my office are monster trucks. All different kinds. I've got them all, like 2-wheel drives. Every brand, it seems like, too. I've just got monster trucks all over the place. Well, no, actually, there's one rock bouncer that I have to finish that's up there as well. But literally, the rest of the shelves are monster trucks or monster truck bodies stacked on stuff. That's what I want people to see when they come. That's my favorite part.
I think I've always got like 10 more monster truck bodies than I have actual monster trucks for them.
That's how it happens.
Because I'm one of those guys, I like to have like the Shelf Queen body and then the running body.
Yeah.
As soon as it gets scratched, I get kind of upset.
Oh, yeah. So I have 3 Max D bodies. 2 of them brand new, 1 of them used. And I actually have a custom painted Dark Side designs, or I think it's dark. But he painted the Grandma Digger, hand painted airbrush, And then
That's
Dennis
awesome.
signed it, and I cracked it. But so I got one of them that was a wrap. But do you have any in there that you've painted in your office? Anything you can show?
Out of my office, I've got one that's.
We actually just wanted you to get up so we can look at your shelves and see if you had anything new that we didn't know about back there. Conspiracy stuff.
I had to do a once over before, but I've got this one is wrapped, so Mike Eaton wrapped this one for me.
Oh yeah, very nice. The Raminator. That's right by you guys, right?
Yeah, I got to add the lights to the eyes there, but yeah, they're local here in town. They're only about 10 minutes away. Great group of guys.
Very cool. Well, guys, we'll go ahead and get ready to wrap here in a second. Greg did killer work. He still has the flat black Avenger. So it's Adam.
Oh yeah, I got one of those at
Do
home.
you?
Yeah, that was probably my favorite Avenger body to do. It looks pretty cool.
Flat black.
Yeah.
I've got a few. Like my Metal Militia is my favorite one. I say that, but I don't say that. The Son of a Digger is my favorite truck. So I've got two of them. I've got the custom one that was built for me, the chassis, and then I've got the Stampede conversion kit one that I bought off of someone. Both of them the same body. So it's my favorite truck, like in general. Just I love watching Ryan drive because he's just nuts. Like, so when I crashed my Creighton into the tree, I didn't ever think about stopping. Like that wasn't... so I literally went and jumped it again. And when I jumped it back at myself, I skied it. Not RC Dude 81 skying it or Rich Duperbass skying it, but skying it for myself. Like, you know what? It's sending it good. And I saw the wheel like literally like fold flat in the air. And I'm like, and then it just landed. Bam. And so usually I do more damage after the break. Like same thing with the Outcast. When I did the shock, I'm like, well, screw this. I stuck the shock back in. All I did was break the end off, like a rod end off the shock, and I just shoved it back into the axle or into the A-arm and jumped it again. And then I bent the axle because it wasn't in there right, or not the axle. I bent the shock shaft. If I'd have just stopped, it would have been an easy fix, so quick. But I had to rebuild the shock. All this. If you guys would have had these available, I would have bought the kit. What are you saying? Is that what you're going to say? I would have.
Now you didn't have to rebuild the shock.
I would have just bought the whole kit, man. And I just had spares ready to go. But anyway, yeah. I like to send it. He says on RC groups, he sent me a message. Okay, that works, man. Any last questions? Something's about the Yeti score. Somebody's saying that the SCX 10.3 will have 2.2s and be a portal. Oh, these are good conspiracies. SMT 10 re-release, be nice with a different body. You always got to have a Gravedigger. In my opinion, like I bought Gravedigger. Like you see it, everybody knows who Gravedigger is. That's the one, like a little kid sees it and he says, I want that truck, right? Like, Dad, give me that truck. So I get that side of it. But, which is a bummer because I have Gravedigger is a bad one to redo. I would actually ditch Gravedigger so that the value of the bodies I have stored in my closet will go way up and I will be eBay gold rich. eBay rich.
There you go.
I'm so mad that I can't get one for my Stampede. But anyway, guys, we'll go ahead and sign off here. Greg, unless you have anything else that I missed that you wanted to talk about that Horizon has coming for Christmas or for the new year or events or...
on the Surface side, I can say for the rest of the year, we have a couple more releases.
This year?
So those are exciting. Yep. We got a couple quick releases coming up that we'll announce in the next month or so. So hang tight for those. Watch for those. For holiday stuff, the hobby shops are loaded up, ready to go. So check them out this weekend. They'll have some huge sales there, and you're shaking your head at me now.
I'm gonna be broke, man. Okay, so I almost bought. Is it Dramata that has the little monster trucks out right now for $100 at the hobby shops?
Yeah, the hobby
118th?
towns have those. Yeah, yeah. But they got the. You don't have your mini T yet. You've seen the mini T.
I've
You
ordered
don't have
it,
the mini
and I
T.
ordered hop-up parts for it. That's what I'm saying. And I
Okay.
ordered
We don't have
the
the T
Kraton
yet.
8S, the mini T. I'm dying to not order that 22S, the 2-wheel drive 1/10 scale for 150. But I mean, that's a killer deal.
I took one of the 22Ss and I actually converted it into a no prep drag car. That was a fun project.
Oh, drag car. That
But,
could be a use for it.
see, Tony, you can just sell me some of your solid axle monster trucks. You know, get some more new releases.
We don't sell those. We collect the monster trucks. And yes. Although I traded away, and even that was painful, that Max D. And I wish I had it back. But you kept telling me at Digger's Dungeon they were going to come back out. So I'm like, well, I can get another one eventually. So eventually I will have my mud truck built off of an SCX-10. So I don't have to keep taking the bog hog off and making it back to Max D. Eventually, all the bodies that I have around will have a truck under them. But anyway, guys, well, that's it. New releases. I had no idea. Like, I thought for sure, like, the Kraton 8S was going to, like, be the end of the releases for the year. So now I'm trying to think what it could be. Like, I'm racking my brain across the lineup of the vehicles that you guys have. So yeah, man, a semi truck. That's what you need. You need a ready to run ARRMA semi truck. That's a what? See, they could do that. They could do a semi truck. That would be pretty cool.
Do like an 18-wheeler off-road semi truck.
It doesn't have to be off road.
With backflips.
Well, Axial then. Axial could do, or Viterra. Who's your on-road car company?
Depends what the topic is. The semi truck right now probably doesn't fit too well
but
into
if it was
them.
a ready to run, you would just completely kill the Tamiya market for semi trucks. I'm just saying, for guys that don't like to build stuff,
it's got a huge market, huh?
There's a huge market for semi trucks right now. I'm just saying it because I'm interested in them. That means that everybody else is interested in semi trucks because RC Sparks is back into his semi truck games in his garage, which I'm super excited about because that's like my favorite show of his, Loading Wars, my favorite. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Greg, for giving us your time, coming here, giving us something to worry about what's coming. Not worry, but worry about our wallets. And,
it's just so you can start prepping your wives and girlfriends.
Right. Well, and now I'm imagining RC Dude 81 with a semi truck because of John McClellan in the chat. That was brilliant, by the way, John. Because if he would send one of those, that would be pretty sick. All right, guys, we're out of here. Thanks again, RC Conspiracies. It is what it is, and that's all it was. So thanks for tuning in. Have fun RCing. We'll catch you next time.